So there we were, Thanksgiving dinner, and right in the middle of it, my sister stands up, all dramatic, and says, "We took a vote, and you're not part of the family anymore." And would you believe it? The whole table started clapping like it was some big victory. I just chuckled under my breath and said, "Well then, I guess you won't be needing this." I reached into my bag, pulled out a folder, and set it right in the middle of the table. The second she cracked it open, she lost it. Screamed like someone lit her on fire. But let me back up a bit. Before any of that happened, before the turkey even got carved, Mary stood up, gave one of her classic fake smiles, the kind she probably practiced in the mirror, and said, "There's something we need to talk about." Suddenly, the whole room went still. People froze, forks in midair. My stomach twisted because I recognized that tone. Same one she used back when I was 14 and she got me grounded for a party I never even went to. She continued, voice full of sugar and venom, "We took a family vote." She looked around the table like she was about to accept an award. "And we decided, you're not family anymore." Silence hung for a second. Then the clapping started. Cheering, even. Cousin Lucy clapped like she was front row at a concert. Uncle Jake raised his wine glass and toasted like it was New Year's Eve. And my mom? My own mother laughed and said, "Well, someone had to say it." I just sat there, staring at my plate. The stuffing had gone cold, but I felt like I was burning from the inside out. Dad didn't say a word to me. Just kept sipping his beer and muttered, "It's probably for the best." "Wow," I said, slowly pushing my chair back. "You guys actually planned this out?" I asked. Mary beamed even wider. "You've been toxic for years," she said, like she'd been waiting to deliver that line. "We're finally done pretending." "You're not family," my mother added, like she was commenting on the weather, reaching casually for the cranberry sauce. It was unanimous. I looked around. Not a soul spoke up. No one, not even the ones I'd helped the most. "All right," I said softly. I reached into my bag. "Had a feeling this might happen," I added, pulling out a thick folder and placing it right in the middle of the table. It hit the wood with a heavy thunk that cut through the laughter like a blade. Mary blinked. "What is that?" I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and smiled. "Why don't you take a look?" She yanked it off the table and tore it open, that smug little grin of hers already curling at the corners. Like she thought she was about to win again. But the second her eyes hit the first page, that smile disappeared. Her face went ghost white. She flipped to the next page. And then the next. And then she let out a scream, full-on, horror movie, blood-curdling scream. Her chair slammed backwards as she shot to her feet and snapped the folder shut like it burned her. "You monster," she yelled. "You're sick." "Twisted," she spat, tears starting to well. Gasps echoed around the room. Liam, her husband, grabbed the folder and opened it himself. His jaw dropped. He looked over at me, stunned. "Is this real?" I nodded once. Every word. Every document. Every single screenshot. The room fell silent. Dead quiet. You could hear a fork clatter in the kitchen. My mother opened her mouth, then shut it again. Like a fish out of water, trying to breathe. "You thought I'd never fight back," I said, rising to my feet slowly. "You thought I'd stay quiet. Play the doormat. Keep being the one who paid for everything." I looked Mary square in the eye, leaned forward just a bit. "Well, guess what? That show you just put on. It's over. And yeah, I'll tell you what was in that folder. We'll get to that. But before I do, let me explain how we ended up here. Because Mary didn't just wake up one day and decide I wasn't family anymore. That judgment. That was years in the making. Built piece by piece. Word by word. Stab in the back after stab in the back. I was never the favorite. Not even close. Mary was the golden child. She made good grades, knew how to flash a smile, could charm anyone. She could lie straight to someone's face and have them thanking her for it. Me? I was quiet. Kept to myself. Didn't crave attention, and they hated that. They saw my silence as weakness. I moved out at 19. Paid my own way through college. Took on 2 jobs. Never once asked for a handout. Meanwhile, Mary. She flunked out of 2 majors, took off to Europe to find herself, then came back home and married Liam, basically a walking LinkedIn profile in a blazer. And their wedding? I covered half the costs. My parents said they couldn't afford it, yet somehow managed to take a 2-week cruise right afterward. Did I complain? Nope. I never did. Even when they started calling me the family accountant as a joke, I kept helping. Covered Dad's dental surgery. Sent money when Mom said the heat bill was overdue. Even helped with cousin Lucy's tuition when her scholarship didn't come through. They always said, "Thank you, sure," but in that tone. The kind that said, "Well, of course you'd help. What else do you have going on?" And maybe that's what really got to me. See, I'm single. No spouse. No kids. No chaos. Just me, my work, and my dog. To them, that meant I had time. I had money. And nothing better to do than clean up their messes. Mary, especially, treated me like her emergency ATM. When Liam got laid off, she called me first. Just a little loan. When her car broke down, it was, "You make 6 figures, what's a couple grand?" When her kid needed therapy and the insurance wouldn't cover it, guess who picked up the tab? Yeah. Me. Every time. Always said it was because we were family. That's what I told myself every time I helped. But over time, helping turned into something else. First, it was obligation. Then it became expectation. And before I knew it, it felt like a demand. It started out small. Little digs at dinner. Stuff like, "Oh, you brought wine. Must be nice to afford the good stuff." Or, "Of course you're early, you don't have kids to wrangle. Wish I could stay late at work to avoid my husband too." Smiles on the surface, but sharp underneath. Then it started getting mean. "You're so cold. No wonder you're still single. You don't know what real stress is. You don't have a real life. You're just bitter that nobody actually needs you." But here's the kicker, they did need me. Constantly. Behind closed doors, they needed me. Financially. Quietly. Always in secret. Then one day, I got a text from Mary. "Hey, could you co-sign a loan? Liam and I are thinking about opening a wellness cafe." And I finally said it, "No." Her reply. "Wow. Really?" After that, the silence rolled in like a fog. That was 3 months ago. Since then, I've gotten the cold shoulder. Mom stopped calling. Dad replied to texts with one-word answers. They had a family dinner and somehow forgot to invite me. Mary blocked me on social media, right after posting some dramatic story about cutting toxic people out of her life. But I didn't sit around moping. Nope. I got to work. Started digging through everything. Pulling receipts, literal ones. See, I keep records. Transfers. Emails. Screenshots. Dates. I'm not stupid, no matter what they think. And just over the last 5 years alone, I'd sent more than $80,000 to members of this so-called family. Yeah, 78 grand. 7,000 for Liam's rehab. 22,000 for Mary's so-called dental emergency, turned out she just wanted veneers. 14,000 toward Dad's back surgery. 11,000 to cover Mom's credit card debt. 5,000 for Lucy's college move-in expenses. 44,000 for some family emergency that ended up being a trip to Cabo. And guess how many times anyone offered to pay me back? Exactly 0. They took and took. And the moment I stopped handing it out, suddenly I was the selfish one. The problem. So I built the folder. Every message, every transfer, every request. Every text from Mary calling me manipulative, just because I said no to co-signing her dream cafe. I made a full timeline of all the money I'd sent over the years. And just to round it out, I tossed in screenshots of posts, Facebook, Instagram, where they laughed about me behind my back. Mary even called me a cash cow with no spine in a private comment thread she didn't realize I had access to. So yeah. That's what she saw when she opened that folder. That's what made her scream. Because I didn't just call her out, I laid her out. Fact by fact. Page by page. No shouting. No drama. Just proof. And while she stood there shaking, the rest of the family finally started seeing it. My mom looked like she might pass out. Liam stared at the page showing $4,300 for Mary's credit card, charged at a hotel in Santa Monica, with someone named Rose. And all he said was, "What is this?" I didn't have to answer. He knew. For once, I didn't have to defend myself. I just let the truth sit there and speak for itself. You kept records?" my mom asked, her voice thin, almost cracking. "Of everything?" I turned to her, calm as ever. "Someone had to. You never remembered anything." Mary hadn't moved. Still standing. Still pale. Fists clenched so tight her knuckles turned white. Her eyes jumped from Liam, to me, to the folder. "This is a violation," she hissed. "You had no right to do this." "No right?" I said, getting to my feet. "You stood up in front of the whole family and said I wasn't family. You all clapped. And now you're mad that I didn't come empty-handed?" Liam flipped another page. "Santa Monica. Who's Rose?" His voice was tight, sharp. Mary spun toward him, panicked. "Don't start. Why were you in a hotel for 3 nights on my card?" he asked, staring at the printout. Her silence said everything she didn't. Then Mom jumped in, hands in the air like she could fix it with a gesture. "Can we just take a breath? Be reasonable?" "Sure," I said. "Let's be reasonable. Let's talk about that time you called me a parasite, while you were cashing the check I sent." She blinked, caught off guard. "That's not fair, we were under a lot of stress." "No," I said firmly. "You were under stress. And I bailed you out. Every single time. And the one time I said no, that was enough to cut me out." Then, finally, my dad opened his mouth. Until then, he'd just been sitting there, beer in hand, pretending none of this involved him. "You're blowing this out of proportion," he said. I looked straight at him. Dropped my voice. "You let them do this to me. For years. You knew. You saw. You heard. And you just sat there because it was easier than calling them out." He didn't argue. Didn't even flinch. Then Mary slammed her hand on the table. "You're just bitter," she snapped. "Bitter that no one needs you anymore." "Wrong," I said, my voice cold. "I'm not bitter. I'm done." She laughed. That tight, sour kind of laugh people let out when they've got nothing real to say. "You're pathetic," she snapped. "Do you know how dramatic this all looks? Bringing a folder. Printing screenshots. You think that makes you the victim?" She leaned forward, like she was trying to land a final punch. "You're just proving you're a control freak. And you're just proving," I said, eyes locked on hers, "that you only cared about me when I was footing the bill. You don't get to play the martyr," she shouted. "You chose to help. No one forced you. And yet," I said, stepping closer, "you expected it. Every time. It stopped being help. It became duty. A job. A responsibility I never signed up for." My voice cracked, not from grief, but from the heat of everything that had built up over the years. "You didn't want a brother. You wanted a wallet with legs." That's when Liam stood up, still holding the folder. He looked pale. "Is this true?" he asked, turning toward Mary. "All of it?" And for once, Mary had no answer. No excuses. No fake tears. Just silence. You lied to me, Liam said quietly. About the hotel. About the charges. About him. You made it sound like he was crazy. I had to, she exploded. He was turning everyone against me. I wasn't, I said calmly. You managed that all by yourself. The room went still again. Then my mom tried one last Hail Mary. She leaned forward, voice soft now, gentle. The kind of tone you use on a wild animal you're trying not to scare off. Listen, honey. Maybe we overreacted. But this is still family. Families fight. Let's just put this behind us. I shook my head. You're not hearing me. She blinked. What? I'm not asking for peace. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm telling you, I'm done. Mary scoffed. Oh please. Stop acting like this is some big, powerful moment. You've said this kind of thing before. I looked her dead in the eye. Not like this. Then I reached into my coat pocket, pulled out an envelope, and tossed it on the table. It slid across the surface like a final move in a chess game. What now? My dad sighed, already looking drained. Liam caught it. Opened it. Read the first line. His eyes widened. What is this? He whispered. I answered. Power of attorney. Revoked. Medical proxy. Revoked. Emergency contact. Removed. I already signed everything. I took a step back, folded my hands behind me. I am legally and emotionally no longer responsible for any of you. My mom gasped. You're cutting ties. Completely. Completely, I said. Starting right now. Tears welled up in her eyes. You're being selfish. We made mistakes, but we're still your family. I looked at her, really looked, and my voice came out soft, low, final. No. You're not. Then I picked up my coat, turned, and walked out the door. It was still Thanksgiving. They were still sitting there, around the table, plates of cold food in front of them. Surrounded by ugly truths they'd spent years pretending didn't exist. I walked out. And I didn't look back. Not because it didn't hurt. God, it did. But as the door clicked shut behind me and I stepped off that porch into the night air, something inside me shifted. For the first time in years, I could breathe. I didn't drive straight home. I pulled over near the lake. The same lake Dad used to take me fishing when I was a kid. Just sat there in the quiet, staring out at the water. It was still. Peaceful. There was nothing pulling at me. No guilt. No pressure. No texts asking for money. No games. Just me. Just silence. The next morning. Nothing. Day after that. Still nothing. But on the third day, the messages started. First, my mom. A couple missed calls. Then a voicemail. You really meant it? We were angry, but we're still your family. I didn't reply. Then came the texts from Mary. You don't even realize what you've done. Liam's filing for divorce. Are you happy? Something is seriously wrong with you. Then my dad, finally. You went too far. We all said things we regret. But what you did was nuclear. Your mother is a wreck. Come fix this. I didn't answer any of them. And honestly, I expected to feel awful. I thought I'd lie awake at night second-guessing everything. Wondering if I'd gone too far. But instead, I slept. Better than I had in years. No second-guessing. No walking on eggshells. No calculating how to say no without being punished for it. No Venmo requests at midnight, wrapped in guilt and labeled emergency. Just peace. For the first time in over a decade, I could actually hear myself think. I started waking up early. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I went for runs. Brewed coffee slowly, the old-fashioned way. No rushing, no multitasking, no one else's crisis waiting in my inbox. I made appointments I'd put off for years. Dentist. Doctor. Even a therapist. Not because I was falling apart, but because, finally, I was allowed to take care of myself. I rewrote every emergency contact form. Removed my parents. Changed all my passwords. Froze the joint accounts. Blocked Mary everywhere. It wasn't revenge. It was closure. A week after Thanksgiving, a message popped up from Lucy. My cousin. The one who clapped when they voted me out. I didn't know you paid for my tuition. I'm sorry. I followed the crowd. You were always the one who actually helped. I didn't reply. But I read it. Twice. Then, another surprise, Liam. The folder must have stayed with him. I filed the papers. Everything in that folder checked out. She cheated. Lied. Manipulated. Not just you. Me too. You did the right thing. I should have left sooner. I wasn't expecting that. But it landed. A few days later, I applied for a job in another city. Not to run away. But because, for the first time in my life, I could. No more, you should stay close to home. No more, who will take care of them if you leave. I started reaching back out to people I hadn't spoken to in years. Friends I'd slowly ghosted because I was always too drained, too busy being the family fixer. The wildest part. Some of them had seen my post on Reddit. They messaged me. Not for money. Not to play therapist. Just simple, kind words. We're proud of you. That was brave. I'm sorry we didn't know. No spin. No strings. Just support. Real, human, clean. Someone asked me recently, don't you regret it? I paused. Thought about it. And said, I only regret not doing it sooner. I thought that would be the end of the story. Neat and wrapped up in a bow. But people like them. It's never that clean. Not when they realize the cost of your absence. The first few weeks after Thanksgiving were quiet. Almost, beautifully quiet. No calls. No subtle barbs disguised as concern. Just peace. Then Christmas came. December 22nd, a text from my mother. Just a picture. Their living room, stockings up, a half-decorated tree, and in the center, a gaping empty space where they'd usually stack the presents. It doesn't feel the same without you. Sandy keeps asking why Uncle isn't coming this year. I stared at it for a long time. No apology. No real reflection. Just more of the same undertone. Look what you've done. Look who you're hurting. I didn't reply. December 23rd, Mary tried calling. I let it go to voicemail. Then came the text. I know I messed up. But you don't have to punish everyone. Just, come by for Sandy. She misses you. 2 minutes later. Also. Mom and Dad are behind on their mortgage. I know you don't care anymore, but the bank called today. Thought you'd want to know. There it was. The ask. Always wrapped in guilt. Coated in sugar, but it always ended the same way, help us. I blocked her number. December 24th, another text. This time from my dad. You made your point. We get it. But enough is enough. We need help. We're still your blood. That night, I sat alone by my little fireplace with a glass of wine. No tree. No noise. Just me. And the silence. The same silence they used to say would destroy me. And for the first time, I was thankful for it. But even that wasn't the end. In January, I got a call from an unknown number. I picked up without thinking. Is this Neil? Yes, who's calling? My name is Richard, he said. I'm calling on behalf of your father. He mentioned you're the primary executor of the family trust. I felt my stomach drop. That role was revoked 2 months ago, I said flatly. Finalized through our family attorney. I'm off everything. He paused. I see, your father said he couldn't reach you directly, and asked me to explore options. They're in a bit of a bind. Of course they were. Mary and my parents had run out of options. The ATM was closed. The safety net was gone. Now they were just getting creative. I hung up the call without another word. But the final straw came in February. An envelope. Handwritten. No return address. But I recognized my mother's handwriting immediately. Inside, a letter. 3 pages. The first page. Regret. We said things in anger. You've always been the strong one. We never realized how much we leaned on you. The second page shifted to guilt. Your father's health isn't good. Mary's completely alone. We're worried about Sandy. She's struggling. And the third page? That was the ask. We're selling the house. We're underwater on the mortgage. We just need a little help to get through this. Then we'll never ask again. Please, Neil. Do it for your father. Do it for the family. I sat with it. Let myself feel every ounce of what they wanted me to feel. The responsibility. The guilt. The old, aching urge to fix it all. Then I folded the letter. Walked to the kitchen. And dropped it in the trash. Because the truth is, they weren't asking for help. They were asking for access. Again. They didn't want me. They wanted the version of me who never said no. Who paid quietly. Sacrificed quietly. Suffered quietly. But that version of me? He's gone. I'm not their scapegoat. I'm not their golden goose. I'm not the duct tape keeping a broken house from falling apart. I am. Done. And the part that terrifies them the most? I'm doing just fine without them. I got a new job. Moved to a new city. Found a bigger place. A cleaner slate. I started volunteering, not because anyone needed me to. Because I wanted to. I built a life where no one calls at 11 p.m. to cover their mess. Where I'm not punished for setting boundaries. Where kindness isn't currency. I don't regret helping them. I regret how long it took me to stop. You want to know what real peace feels like? It's not being surrounded by family. It's being free from people who only call you family when they need something. Update, months later. I didn't think this post would get attention. Honestly, I just needed to put it somewhere. But I read every comment. Every DM. The ones that said, "You were brave. They don't deserve you. Thank you." I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that, until I did. Some asked, "What if they change?" Yeah. I've asked myself that, too. But it's been a few months. And they didn't. After the folder. After the yelling. After the silence. After the letters. I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would get it. That they'd say the thing they never could, "We're sorry." But they didn't. They got quiet. Then they got strategic. Then they got desperate. Then they got ugly again. But me? I got free. Since then. Moved cities. Started therapy, the kind where you stop fixing everyone else and finally sit with yourself. I cook. I sleep. I breathe. I don't flinch when the phone buzzes. And yeah, I still think about Sandy. About what she's growing up around. About what she's being taught is normal. But I also know this. I was the example of someone who finally said enough. A few days ago, another letter came. Handwritten. From my mom. 3 words. We're still family. No context. No apology. No change. Just the same hook. And for the first time, I didn't feel anything. Not anger. Not guilt. Not even sadness. Just, nothing. I threw it away. Made dinner. So now I'm back here. Because this space gave me something I never had, clarity. Strangers saw me clearer than my own blood ever did. So let me ask. Did I do the right thing? Cutting them off. Dropping the weight. Saying no, and meaning it. Was I too cold? Or was I finally just done being the only one holding it all together? I don't know. But I do know this. For the first time in my life, I'm not surviving. I'm living.